Hey there, and welcome to Life's Just Perfect. I'm Brenna Stebbins, a wife, mom, and full-time realtor here in North Carolina. 7 years ago, I transplanted from a tiny town in Maine to an only slightly bigger small town, and let me tell you, it has been a journey. Let's be real, these middle years, the ones where you're too old to hang out in the McDonald's playground but still figuring out what you want to be when you grow up, they're messy, magical, and nobody talks about it enough. Perfect is all about perception. What's perfect for one person might not look like perfection to another, but that doesn't make it any less beautiful. So let's dive in and embrace the chaos and talk about everything that leads us to our own version of perfect. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. This is going to be a little quick one. And this is not a topic that I had originally thought about recording right now, but listen, the kids here locally have been out of school for snow since Friday. They were out of school on Friday. The snow didn't start till Friday night. Coming from the great state of Maine that we did, it seems utterly ridiculous that these kids were out of school Friday, Monday, and Tuesday for less than 2 inches of snow. And listen, I know that the South is not equipped to handle the snow like we were in central Maine. It doesn't make it any different being like, wow, literally everything is closed. You can't even go get a Dunkin' coffee because Dunkin's closed. And if you've ever been in New England, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dunkin' doesn't close. Dunkin' will probably be open during the apocalypse, and I mean that with every fiber of my being. But no, this wasn't a topic that I was planning to film, but it it hit me the other day. I had my sister-in-law and her husband were here visiting for a few days, and it was great. The kids were out of school. My husband was super flexible with his work, so he stayed home and visited with them quite a bit. And the other day, everybody was curled up on the couch watching a movie, just relaxing, and I was like, no, I have an appointment, and I'm still going to take these pictures and things, and I have to do a little bit of work. And I was like, all right, sure, go. I guess go to work. And I have to tell you that this little twinge of guilt swept over. I felt a little bit guilty that I was walking away from that sweet, cozy session to go to work. So that sat there for a minute or two. And then it took me back to another time when, before I started in real estate, I was a waitress and I worked the lunch shift. And if you've ever worked in the food industry, you know that sometimes your leaving time doesn't actually work that way. So lunch shift was 12 to 4 or 11 to 4. And we did that so I would still be able to pick up the kids from daycare. At the time they were both, they were 4 and 2. So very young. And I remember one day specifically that I ended up at daycare like 10 minutes past 5 because I had a table that wouldn't leave. They wouldn't transfer the table. And then two of the people who were supposed to show up for dinner shift were running late. And they were like, no, sorry, we have to keep you on the floor. And I understand that, but I was so upset. I was so frustrated. And then I get there, pull into the YMCA parking lot for the daycare, and there's one lonely little teacher, and my two toddlers just sitting there. And I have to tell you that was a level of mom guilt that I had never I had never reached before. At that point, Violet was, still 4, Maddie was 2, and I was those sad little faces. And it just sucked, not being able to be there on time. And it didn't happen very often. It actually only happened twice, miraculously, and I don't know how that happens. But at that moment, I remember being like, I want to be able to be where my kids need me to be at all times. And I know that I shared on the podcast before that I'm one of 11 kids, which is a massive family, but I don't think that I shared that my mom homeschooled all 11 of us at one point or another. The 4 older ones, not for their entire school process, but everybody else homeschooled. And she dedicated a lot of her time and effort to being there for us 24/7. But this is me walking myself through this, is that I can be every bit of the mom that my kids need me to be, that my husband needs me to be, and still be successful in what I want to do, because I, as a human, am not created to be a stay-at-home mom. It brings me no fulfillment or joy. And that's not to say that my kids don't take a huge part of my life, because they are a very important part of my life. And I've changed a lot to be the mom that I am. But I feel like, for me personally, I need to do other things. I need to feel like I contributed to the family. I need to be a part of being successful. I want to be able to buy the stupid pair of boots without feeling bad about it. Like, all of these things that I want for myself, in addition to being a mom that, wasn't late to pick up kids from school because I had to work a 9 to 5, or missed a soccer practice or a volleyball game, those kinds of things. So we're on, what is this, episode 4, episode 5 now? And I've talked about social media so much, but the reality of mom guilt is it comes hugely from that doom scroll, because I can't tell you how many people I choose to follow that show it real like it is, or the ones that is absolutely picture perfect. We're recording, packing these kids' lunches at 7:30 p.m. in matching, little cooler bags and sweet little Tupperware containers and all of these things. And I can't, and I was sitting there like, that is so satisfying to watch. But also, I don't know where half of the Tupperware lids are for my stuff, and that super cute teal lunchbox that we absolutely needed is destroyed. It's stained, it's dirty, we've washed it. It just doesn't look Instagram worthy. And I feel like it's so easy to get lost in how it looks, mostly on social media. And I have to tell you too, the car rider line will get me sometimes. If I'm tumbling out of this house with 2 kids and get into the car rider line, you pull around the loop and there's moms that are in their PJs and robes. Hey girl, love you. And then there's moms too that have had time to curl their hair. They've got sunglasses on and looks like they slept well, and they probably already did their hour workout that morning and meditated and probably had time to journal. And that's just me assuming, right? Or their morning could have looked much like mine, and they just hide it better, I guess. So I think it's so easy to lose ourselves when we are in this journey of motherhood, because I go to the school sometimes to have lunch with my kids, and it's like, hey, that's Maddie's mom, or oh, that's Violet's mom. And that's a title that I'm very proud of. But it's hard because growing up I was, Dana and Vicky's daughter, or Derek's little sister, or Jesse's little sister, or Kaylee's big sister. It's just, I feel like you get lost in like, who are you? Who am I personally? Beyond being a wife, a mom, a sister. And those are all important things, but I think it's so important to really be able to focus on the goals that you have for yourself. And I'm not saying that this has to be a business goal, a monetary goal. It could be as simple as carving out some time for that hobby that you gave up when, you were 3 months into nursing a newborn and sleep was so important to you that you stopped doing that puzzle, or you stopped crocheting, or you stopped journaling. Those kinds of things that just kind of get pushed to the side as we become more and more relied upon for school lunches, for bedtimes, for taking a bath. All of these things, just, we get lost in it. Another one you could do is stick to a bedtime routine. Honestly, my kids are probably the best to go to bed, and we started a bedtime routine with them when they were babies, mostly because I was dying. I was dying not being able to sleep. So that's great. But yeah, and this is going to go off on a tangent, but don't get lost being mom be a badass mom that has all the other cool stuff to show for it, that still does the puzzle, that still does a face mask while they're sitting there watching Disney movies, stuff like that. Moms aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. I promise you, you're not perfect. Or the Instagram moms out there, they're not perfect either. They're showing you the best sides of them, which is great. Everybody wants to feel perfect. And in our own way, I think it's important to focus on the perfect parts that work for us. The little wins, the little tidbits. I think they call them glimmers. I've saw something that the opposite of a trigger is a glimmer, like things that make you really happy. And if that's, I'll share one. Maddie, we drop her off. Our car rider, they don't ride the bus. So she'll get out of the car and 9 times out of 10, she'll turn around and throw up the I love you sign language sign, right? And that's just every morning. I'm like, oh, God, she's such a cute kid. She's such a pain in my butt sometimes, but oh my God, she's so cute. And then I pull out and I go work on the things that make me personally happy and make me personally be a better mom, because if I'm happy in my own skin and in what I'm bringing into the world, then I know that I show up as a better mom for them, and I know that I show up as a better wife for Travis. And that's my ending right there. I know you felt struggle at some point or another. So if you have struggled with mom guilt or mom goals or things like that, I'd love to hear from you. So make sure you shoot me a message if you haven't connected with me on socials, and let's just keep on keeping on. And with that, I am going to go pick up my munchkins from school. So I will talk to you guys next time. We just finished another episode of Life's Just Perfect with a crooked T. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And until next time, let's keep redefining the word perfect.